This lesson is called the Desert of Duality. Everything we try to acquire or create or bring into our lives, we are subconsciously doing so thinking that when we get it or experience it, we will finally be happy or finally arrive at what we have been seeking, the elusive final destination or final experience or final possession, only to find that when it arrives or the experience comes, the feeling of this is it fades like a mirage. Then we start over again. Each one of us is in the desert, a metaphor for our lives being barren of what we desire to be happy, running around from one mirage to another and still not getting it. Oh, the experience we're having and that we desire doesn't necessarily fade, but the feeling inside that we have, it doesn't match the feeling we anticipated that we would have when it arrived. The very thing we anticipated would give us the final fulfilling feeling, even if we have that feeling for a time, is never permanent. Just as Paul said in the Bible, what you see with your eyes is temporary, but that which is invisible or unseen is eternal. So the feeling you have or think you are going to have when you arrive is really a cheap imitation of the real thing. And you keep running through the desert of your life, chasing the mirage of wealth, the perfect love relationship, the perfect job or career, the perfect house, the perfect body, thinking that the feeling will last forever, only to experience it and then feel it fade with time. We attach our expectations to the, quote, thing or experience, which is a created concept and is temporary. So when it finally fades, so do feelings, the feelings of our expectations. The real treasure is in what you are being, not in what you are having. This is what is really meant by not being attached to the result or outcome. The definition of being attached is thinking that in the having or experiencing is the total fulfillment. In other words, you are happy and fulfilled having or not having. Again, what you see, taste, touch, feel, experience is temporary. The object of affection or emotional attachment. But that which is impossible to experience by the senses in the invisible is eternal. Peace that is not based on anything external is invisible and eternal. The feeling of abundance that is not based on anything external is invisible and eternal. That feeling of pure joy that is not based on anything or anyone external is also invisible and eternal. The feel of pure, unconditional love that is not based on anything or anyone external is invisible and eternal. This is what Jesus meant when he said, or when he asked, "Why do you store up for yourselves treasures on this earth, where moth and rust destroy, thieves break in and steal?" You see, the real theft is not of the material thing, but of the joy that you thought you were going to have in the experience. In other words, why did you attach the idea that you would be permanently fulfilled to these things in the physical, which is everything from careers, relationships, and material things, which don't really last? It means you have totally invested in temporary physical things to give you eternal results. I'm going to say that again. It means you have totally invested, put your affections on temporary physical things to give you eternal results or satisfaction. This is why he said then, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, for where your treasure is, your heart or affections will be also. Paul said, set your affections on things above, where your life is hid in God. In other words, be attached to the eternal invisible, things not detected by the senses, non-changing attributes of pure energy consciousness field that cannot be created or destroyed. It doesn't vary in any way because it's not dual. There is no duality there. In other words, the real treasure is the pure energy light in which there is no variance or shadow or shade or shifting or turning. This is the pearl of great price that the man sold all he had to buy the field it was buried in. Selling all you have really means detaching our affections from everything physical. Stop expecting or trying to make the feelings you get from physical experiences eternal and permanent. Looking for permanency in anything physical, including relationships, is attaching yourself to a mirage that will eventually fade away in this desert of duality. You know you are there when you cannot let go of anything or anyone in the physical. This is what Paul meant when he said, I find myself therefore to be content in any situation. If we can finally let go of the permanency of all things and experiences in which we call this life in the body, we will find the peace that passes all understanding, that is eternal and unwavering. If you attach your self-image and self-worth to anything or any experience or any person in the physical, you will never be who you really are. You will always be disappointed in who you think you are. The fear is that if I give up this attachment, I will lose it. If I don't hold on real tight, I'm going to lose it. But it is in the attachment to these things that they elude you. In reality, it is in the giving it up that you will have it, and even more. You can't have the eternal peace that passes understanding until you let go of the counterfeit peace you think you have in the physical that is temporary. All the peace, love, and joy, and contentment, and security we think we have are counterfeits if we find them in the outer world experiences. Even in what we think is the perfect relationship or situation, there is the fear that it's not going to last. Think about a relationship you have right now or that you've had in the past that you think is or was perfect. Now think about how you would feel if it would end. If it pains you or makes you feel bad, you have invested your joy and peace in a temporary concept. You have set yourself up for disappointment. If you are feeling peace, love, joy, and security only when things are going well, it is a counterfeit, a poor, temporary copy of the real thing. If you can let go of the outer temporary, then you will experience the inner eternal. This is entering the kingdom of heaven. This is wholeness, peace, and eternal joy now. You cannot serve two masters, Jesus said, God and earthly riches. See, that's spiritual and physical. See, you are serving the physical when you attach your emotions to it. They're your riches, and they are fading in the having every time. If you find peace in the physical circumstances, which is counterfeit, you cannot know the real peace in the spiritual. If you try to find love in physical circumstances, which is the counterfeit, you cannot know real love in the spiritual. If you try to find joy in physical circumstances, which is the counterfeit, you cannot know real joy in the spiritual. In the physical always comes the duality coin. The joy always comes with sorrow. Love always comes with pain. Peace always comes with conflict or anxiety. In the spiritual, there is singularity and wholeness. Joy is all there is. Love is all there is. Peace is all there is. We should approach every experience as just that, and nothing more. Simply an experience. And the feeling and emotion we have are only for the duration of that experience. So, when the experience ends, so does the feeling. It's temporary, just as the experience. This is the way it was meant to be. It should be no different than riding a roller coaster. The reason we ride it is for the experience, the emotional thrills and the feelings. But when we get off, they begin to dissipate, and as they should, they end. We don't expect those feelings and emotions to go on forever. Yet when we have a life experience, we try and perpetuate the feeling or emotion. We don't think it's valid or real if it doesn't last, or we are disappointed if it doesn't give us a perpetual fulfillment. We must realize that nothing in this physical realm will ever do that. Every experience in the physical is temporary and should be viewed as a ride in the amusement park that is meant to be experienced for a while, and then we should let go of the expectation of perpetuating that feeling so we can go on to the next ride. Enjoy the ride in the moment of the now experience, but do not attach your fulfillment to it. This is the mirage in the desert of duality. If you attach your affections to the counterfeit joy the experience brings, then you have also attached to the other side of the coin, which is disappointment when the feeling fades like a mirage. The revelation that will set you free is to realize that what we experience emotionally on each ride of this amusement park of life was never meant to be eternal. No more than the exhilarating feeling that subsides after you get off the roller coaster. Begin to enjoy the paradise of the amusement park of life instead of wandering through the desert of duality from one mirage to another, seeking fulfillment.